right here. All right. You've all heard of fairy tales. I'm going to tell you a TairyFale. That means it's a spoonerized story. It's the story of Rindercella, not Cinderella, Rindercella. And it goes like this. Once upon a whime, YSA in a Corin country, there lived a very beautiful girl. She was both beautiful, just like all the young ladies here in this room. She had Hond Blair, but that doesn't make her a blumdond, just know you so. Now Rindercella lived with her muggly other and her two sad blisters, and she was in charge of all the wordy dirk. She had to wop the chud, flop the moors, dash the wishes, clean the cloilets, and give the bog a dath. And do you know what she did while she was doing all this wordy dirk? She practiced springing, for example. A meme is a hiss your what drakes when you're fast asleep. Or like, dum say primate. That's Will Snight and the Devon Swarfs. Stung Rory. What else did she sing? It was swing seat guiding nail, ah. And of course, I'm not as good at ginging as she is, but you get the idea. Dunway, Rindercella's muggly other came down the stairs and said, Rindercella, you don't have to ding every pot and kick in time you woo the dirk. And her sad blister said, Mom, what does pot and kicking mean? And she said, it's a figure of speech, honey. You'll understand when you're under. And do you know what Rindercella's sad blisters did while she was doing all this wordy dirk? They just cat on their slouches, cheating yoklets, med ragazines, scrolled on Chapsnap. Now, in the same Corin country, there lived a very pransome hince, and he was going to have a bancy fall. Not a bisco doll or a dake stance. This was a bancy fall with gormal founds, suctitos, the whole yine nards. And he was going to invite people for riles amount, especially the pitch reaple. And so Rindercella's muggly other and her two sad blisters went out to buy some dancy fresses to wear to the bancy fall. But Rindercella couldn't go, because all she had to wear were some old rurdy dags. Now finally, the night of the bancy fall arrived, and Rindercella couldn't go, so she just cat down and sried. Hoo boo. What bait? It bets get her the thought plickens. As she was kittin' there sryin', suddenly there was a linding blash of flight, and standing before her was her Gary Mudfather, holding a wagic mond and wearing a tink poo-poo. Now, upon waving her wagic mond over Rindercella's head and saying a few wagic merds, poof! There was a keg boach and Hicks white sources to take Rindercella to the bancy fall. And she no longer had on old rurdy dags. She now had on a gormal found with matching slash clippers and a round on her ched. And her Gary Mudfather said, Now, Rindercella, you must be home before midnight, or the bell will be stroking and I'll turn you into a tunkin. So Rindercella was off to the bancy fall. And you know who the first people she ran into were? Her sad blisters. But won't Dury, she looked dose different you could hardly even cinderize Reckonella. Just then, the handsome prince. Wow, I am no service right now. My knees are cracking like Shazy, my part sounding, and my lysdexia is kicking like crazy. Anyway, stack to the boring. Just then, the pransome hints walked up and said, May I have the hefture of yis thance with dew? She said yes, and they nanced all dight, and they lell in fuv, just like they'd been hit by a pukid arrow. Now finally, the mid-clock struck night. Am I saying this right? Did I miss something, Marjorie? Okay. The mid-clock struck night, and Rindercella in a dad mash staced down the rares, and just as she beached the rodum, she slopped her dripper, and she hand roam. As soon as the pransome hints, beached the rodum of the stairs, he picked up the slash clipper, raised it high above his head, and said, To the beautiful girl to whom this flipper sits, I mal sherry. The next day, he went war and fight over the Corin country, searching for the beautiful burro who had slopped her dripper. When he got to Rindercella's house, he tried it on her muggly other. It fitn't it. Then he tried it on her two sugly isters. It fitn't it. They couldn't even get their tig bowen, they had such fig beat. But when he tried it on Rindercella, the flipper sit. It was exactly the sight rise. So Rindercella and the pransome hints mought garried and lived afterly ever happer. Now the story of the Maury is this, all you lung yadies. If you ever go to a bancy fall and want a pransome hints to loll deeply in fuv with you, don't forget to slop your dripper. This has been a TairyFale by Barl Clack in the Fanish Spork YSA stake. Any pre-reduction, recording, transcription, or other proofs of this yogram without kitten runsint is hooprohibited.